Hey, welcome everybody to another Smite Super Builds. Today's episode is pretty special. Nemesis, the newest goddess, the female warrior, goddess of revenge. So all today, Thursday of the recording anyway, I've been working pretty hard on Nemesis. And I got her mastered and all that stuff. She's been a lot of fun today, and she's sort of difficult to play, but not really. She's not overpowered, but she's not underpowered. She's a fair, good balance. In arena and most of the time in joust, I average around 20 to 30k ish player damage, which is pretty nice for a warrior. So let's go ahead and go on the build. I just want to first say this build is not for conquest. I've not tried her in conquest yet, so I don't know an exact build for her in conquest. But this build is for arena, joust, etc. Anything except conquest. So let's jump into the build right away. That's the wrong button. Alright, so actives. The actives vary, but most of the time I like to get Fist of Gods because I like to pick up the red buff for Nemesis. It works really well. So I would highly recommend at least get the tier 1 of Fist of Gods. And if you have spare gold, bring that to full Fist of Gods. I think I said Hand of Gods. So like get tier 1 the Hand of Gods and then branch out the Fist of Gods. This allows to, when you initiate with your 1, which dashes you in, you can quickly stun them with this and land your 2 on them, etc. So that's a pretty nice active to have. Sprint, it's totally up to you on your secondary actives. It varies depending on who you're fighting. You may want beats or whatever, so actives always vary. I went with Warrior Tab because I like penetration a lot on warriors. It works quite well, so I went with Warrior Tab. Next we have Focus Void Blade. Now this varies depending on if you're fighting a lot of magical. I will highly recommend Shield, which gives you magical protection, HP 5, and physical power. But if that's not the case, then I really recommend Focus Void Blade due to the high protection, because you're melee. You're going to be in a lot of fighting scenarios. You get pretty good power, and then you have penetration. So we have 25. Plus an additional 15, so we are already rolling at 40 penetration, which is 10 off from the cap limit, so that is just awesome. So we hit pretty close to true damage. Alright, next we have Shin Size. This helps up with your attack speed, since Nemesis has a really good hit progression. What I mean by that is when you hit, you progressively do more damage per hit, so it helps out with that in the damage aspect. Also, the passive is really great, stacking up more damage on per hits, so it's really effective. And of course, the power is also nice and attack speed. Next, we have Rage. It works really well with attack speed and crit hit rate, like I said before, with her hit progression. At least this is how I like to play Nemesis. After this build, when I go through it, I'll also recommend another build. If you're going to go more Bruiser, tanky-ish build, I have ideas for that, so stick around if you want to see that. So Rage, you can get Malice if you want, it's totally up to you, but in this case I like Rage, since I do a lot of basic attacking, so that allows me to get a lot of use out of my passive. So, attack speed, power, crit rate, and, cool passive. Follow up with Deathbringer. If you're in arena, you, don't wait for the last item for Deathbringer, because mostly in arena, you're not going to be able to afford your last item, unless if you're super fed, or it's a very extensive battle. Most of the time you only get your first 5 items, maybe even 4, so it's up to you on your situation. You may want to get Deathbringer earlier or not at all, but if you don't want to get Deathbringer, maybe Hydra's Laminate or another crit item is up to you. So the last few items vary, but if you can get decent gold and build up and whatnot, Deathbringer is really great. Of course, power, it's obvious why it's good. Next, Hydra's Laminate. I feel like she does need the CDR. So also, like I said, if you're fighting a magical team, right, and you don't want to get Void Blade, go ahead and get the shield, which is under the recommended for quick access, this runic shield. If you want to get the other shield, that's fine, but runic shield. So you pick that up, but you're going to be lacking the penetration and cooldown reduction. So if you want to get shield, follow up with the third item as Joan's Wrath, and that gives you your a little bit more penetration. It's not as much as the Void Blade, obviously, but you get great power, and 25% CDR helps out a lot. Mainly because your 1 has quite a bit of cooldown. Well, I have Hydra's Laminate. I think that's normally 15-second cooldown on your 1, so that's quite a while. And and etc. Like, let's go ahead and take off. Okay, let's take off Hydra's Lambnet real quick, and you can see the true cooldown. So 14 seconds, 7 seconds, 12 seconds, 90 seconds. So for more damage output, I like to shorten that, and I like to use my one quite a bit. So that's why I pick up Hydra's Lambnet. Also, as you see, our damage is kind of low right now, like 155, but it's not the best, but we do have a lot of penetration. So Hydra's Lambnet is kind of pricey. So
scales of balance.
Like I said, these items may vary on your scenario. If you're, you're shut down, or you're not enough gold, or whatever the case may be. But if you can, this is a great item. Plus 50 power. That boosts our power to 205, which is half of the cap. The cap is 400, and we get our CDR that we want. And the passive is really nice. So basically, in use of this with Nemesis, after you land your 2 on them and get some damage off, you get your next basic attack deals an additional 175% of your base physical power before items or buffs as physical damage. That applies every 4 seconds. So yes, this is a really good follow-up skill for Nemesis, since your 3, it's a buff. Your 4 can't kill anybody since it's percentage on the current health. So this allows you to follow up with your basic attacks. So she's more basic attack heavy in that sense. You can't really rely on your 1 too much for damage. You mainly rely on your 2 for damage, and your ulti most of the time. So as we see, we have our attack speed at 1.9, which is really awesome with hit progression. With hit progression, like I said before, your next attacks do more damage. The scale is small, but it does help quite a bit. Power 205, physical defense 127. So let's change this up until like if we're fighting a magical heavy team. So let's go ahead and pick up Runic Shield, and then instead of the Hydras, let's pick up Jotun's Wrath. So this is you're fighting a more magical heavy team. Our power does go down a little bit. It's 190, not too bad. Our attack speed stays the same, obviously, but we have our magical defense, and our physical defense is not too bad based on Nemesis scaling. So this is more if you're going to fight magical people. But like I said, your penetration is down to 26. It's not too bad. When I was saying about earlier, so let's go ahead and kind of close all this out. So my idea is, if you're making a Bruiser build, so in Conquest, right, which a majority of people like to play Conquest, so obviously Nemesis is a warrior, so she's going to do really well in the solo lane. So if you haven't seen my previous videos on the solo lane Conquest, I'm just going to go ahead and explain some minor stuff. So if you're a warrior and you're fighting another physical character in the solo lane, go ahead, I highly recommend Mystical Mark. Yes, it is a little pricey, but it's worth it in the end. Reason being, the aura helps you clear minions faster, on top of your 2, which also clears minions really fast. But this aura also damages the opponent, since you're melee, you're going to be up in your opponent's face quite a bit. You have really good protection and health. If you don't want to go with Mystical Mark, and then I highly recommend go on Ankh. In this sense, I'll go Ankh of Bear, and then after Ankh of Bear, I'll pick up the Warrior Tabe, then after that, Focus Void Blade. So that's my recommendations for that. So let's actually just go ahead and go with the yeah, let's go ahead and go with that idea. So Warrior Tabe, man, focus.
With this, I will seek vengeance.
So right away, first 3 items, of course we're level 20, of course, but as you see, our physical defense is pretty high against the physical person that we're going to be fighting, and our power is pretty nice. Those are the 3 core items if you're fighting a physical character in your lane. If you're going against magical, Stone of Gaia. Stone of Gaia is a really great starter item. It's really cheap. Yeah, you don't get any HP, but her scaling on HP, I think it's plus 86 or 83 per level, so it's not too bad. But this allows you for a really heavy magical protection, HP 5 and MP 5, to help you keep sustain in lane, and also with the great passive. And then of course I would follow up with the the warrior boots, and then after that I would go ahead and I would most likely maybe go Jotun's Wrath. Because you're lacking a lot of power just depending on your boots. So Jotun's Wrath after that, it's not too bad because of course penetration, power, and a nice CDR. So those will probably be my 3 core items if you're fighting a magical. If you don't want to go Jotun's Wrath and you're being pushed really hard, I'll just go ahead and go with the shield.
This will serve
And
me well.
you know, this gives you, you know, it's plus 20 physical power, so I mean our power is still a little low, but at least we're really magical resistance at the very least. We have HP 5 for sustain. So yeah, those are my core items for that if you're fighting a magical person in your solo lane. So let's go ahead and go back to the build I was talking about earlier, so our main build. So warrior.
This will tip the scales of balance.
I should really put this on my favorites instead of having to depend on my bad memory. What was it? Yeah, Shins. That's Bringer.
With this, I will seek vengeance.
Hydra. And then we'll go ahead and get our consumables, but we won't pop them just yet. Okay. So of course, if you can, buy the potions. So let's go ahead and go with the red buff since she's really awesome with the red buff. Let's keep an eye on our power. So we have 205 power now. And just a quick tip, make sure you have those arrows and you pretty much instantly kill the minions. So as you can see, the power of the crit and the Shin size are really nice. So we have red buff now with 252 power. As you see, our power just decreased. With the passive, the more you hit an enemy, the more power you get. So we scale all the way up to 284 just by attacking.
But don't let your pride get the best.
So her power gets pretty high. That allows you to get away with going more of a tankier Bruiser build, right? So she's really great in the solo lane with that concept. So let's go ahead and pop our Smite potion that bumps us up to 274, and we have Elixir at 334, which is really close to cap. So let's go ahead and kill. Let's go for Fire Giant. Screw it. So just keep an eye on the damage output. So I'm gonna first 2. Pretty nice damage, right? We didn't lose too much health. We lost what, like 500-ish health. Not too bad. Of course, the scaling from this jungle mode to the real conquest is a little off. I don't think this is highly accurate, but at least that gives you an idea of the damage on Fire Giant. I think they increased their HP. You see damage is really nice on her. So if you're having trouble keeping up with an enemy, you may want to sell your Hydrus Laminate or Shin size, and I'll go ahead and pick up Haste Vitalis. You pick that up basically with the passive. As long as you keep hitting that target, you have your attack movement debuffed. Like pretty much, I'll just go ahead and read it. When basic attack hits a target, the attack and movement speed debuff is removed from you for 1 second. So, oh jeez, that was some nice crits. Those are some nice crits. That's what I like to see. That wasn't even with Shin size. So, our power gets really crazy scaling on her, but let's go ahead and go back with the Shins. Okay, so
with this, I will seek
that will do it. So we have Fire Giant buff, 2 potion buffs, so 344 with that. Let's go ahead and buy the, let's get red buff. Boom, 406. Let's go ahead and attack a minion or so, and let's get some stats with my passive. So 406, 420, 434, and 448. That's quite the power. So thank you all for watching, and I hope these guys, well, sorry, I put that backwards. I hope this helps you guys with Nemesis, and, you know, if you have any comments or concerns or suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching once again, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.